Hello and welcome to the Week 11 edition of the Monster Pod here on TheLines.com. Matt Brown, Mo Nawara, and we are going to run through each and every game, give you any bets in our accounts, any leans we might have, and of course, if there's any games we absolutely hate, we'll let you know about that as well. It is a preview podcast here in video mode, but I do want to go back at least a little bit to what we saw on Thursday night, just to kind of give a thought on moving forward, right? Like you and I power rank teams every week. We'd go in, we try to figure out what these teams moving up or down mean towards the spread, et cetera, et cetera. The performance we saw from the Eagles, while it was a little lackluster there in the first half, I mean, there could have been more points, obviously, if the field goals had gone in and whatnot. I'm kind of getting to the point where I'm putting this Philadelphia team pretty damn close to the top tier, if not already in the top tier. If you kind of look at all the rest of the teams in the NFL, outside of the Lions and Chiefs, there's nobody really that I'm kind of jumping up and down about. And so when you see what this Eagles team has done since the bye and where they rank for all the advanced stats that you and I love to pour a bunch of time into, I think I've got to kind of get them there.
Yeah, I think we've seen this sort of thing in the past with Vic Fangio defenses. Sometimes they can take some time to come together. I don't think he has the easiest system to grasp and implement. So I think it's normal, especially when you have younger corners, that Vic Fangio's system is going to take some time to gel. So it's a team that has a lot of talent. I think everybody understands that. Everybody understood that before the start of the season. I had a little bit of Eagles division. I'm a little bit concerned by their passing game in a playoff setting against some tougher teams. Jalen Hurts I think he's solid, but I think he's a below average quarterback in a playoff setting. So I don't know how much I trust them if he has to make some throws in the playoffs. At times he can, but I just think his arm is so limiting. We've seen that in several spots, and I don't get excited when your team's offense is centered around a running back, I guess. As good as Saquon is, it's a bit limiting for your ceiling.
I saw the thing go through the other night, and I might have gotten there on this just maybe in 2 guesses or something like that, but the player that leads the NFL in rushing touchdowns over the last 4 seasons is Jalen Hurts. I might have gotten there on the second guess, maybe not the first guess. I probably would have gone Derrick Henry, but it is actually Jalen Hurts. He gets down there and, man, inside the 3-yard line. So it's just like on a week-to-week basis. If you're putting together a same-game parlay or whatever, or something like that, guys, put the Jalen Hurts anytime touchdown in the account. The dude just plows in those 1-yarders like over and over and over again. All right, Mo, let's get into the week here. Green Bay at Chicago. This has come off of the 6. It is 5.5 in favor of Green Bay. On the road at Chicago with a very low total, sitting about 40.5 out there. Chicago looks to maybe get back at least 1, if not 2 of those offensive linemen that were out last week, which certainly could help because the Patriots that get no pressure on quarterbacks whatsoever, we're living in the backfield against this Chicago team, so reinforcement certainly needed.
Yeah, I just can't trust this Chicago team until I see them put something that looks like an NFL offense on the field. I mean, I know they fired the offensive coordinator. I still just think you have a bad head coach here against a good head coach. I mean, what I saw from Chicago last week, that was up there, I would say, with the worst performances of the year. I mean, just getting not just beat, but they got thoroughly outplayed by the Patriots at home. That's disgusting. At the same time, if they played this game a month ago, the Packers would have been minus 2.5 or something. So, I mean, it's possible the price has gotten out of hand here. I can't bet the Bears. If you can do that, kudos to you. You have more heart than me.
I have the worst of this. Like I said on the pod last week, I'm live on air as lines are hitting on Sundays. This thing hit at 6. I thought for sure this was going to 6.5. I thought maybe even we'd get all the way to 7, to be honest. And sometimes I'm right, sometimes I'm wrong. So I have the worst ticket worst number in the account. But I'm with you. Like the Bears, until I see it with my own eyes, like the Bears to me are a team that I can't take seriously when they take the field. And so I think Green Bay. I thought at 6 was fair. So I got the worst of this number, but I like Green Bay here until I see at least some sort of signs of life from Chicago. I know we're hearing this, Mo, about this, the fired coach bump. One, I don't believe in that. I don't believe in it anyway, but I don't think that we extend that into the offensive coordinator now. Like, now what are we going to start doing? We're going to be like, oh, they fired their strength coach. So like, yeah, we got to back them this week. Like, so I don't know how far down the chain we extend this whole fired coach bump thing to and all of that. But at the end of the day, I don't trust the head guy, just like you just said. And that's what really matters to me. So I don't know. I think there's just kind of advantage pretty much everywhere for Green Bay here.
It would be hard to say they don't have that, right? I mean, I can buy into the dead cat bounces at times, but it's like you said, this is a coordinator, so right. I don't know what I'm going to see. I don't know what they're going to change. I don't know, much about Thomas Brown, to be quite honest with you. So I know he came in for the Panthers, but it's like, what are we supposed to take away from that?
Yeah,
they didn't have a functioning quarterback. I mean, I don't know what he's about as a coach. So
yeah.
I don't know what to do with this game. I feel like the Bears are clearly the sharp side, but I have no chance I could bet it right now.
Cleveland on the road at New Orleans. This is sitting anywhere from a pick'em all the way to a 1.5 in favor of New Orleans at home. I guess this is flipped at DraftKings. Interesting. Okay, so so it's flipped at DraftKings. So you can get a 1.5 on New Orleans, a point on Cleveland. There's also a pick'em out there at Circa. So this thing is just probably going to toggle back and forth between the 0, 44, 44.5 is our total here in this one. So, I mean, look, New Orleans showed at least a little bit of a sign of life last week. I didn't necessarily think that we would be getting that from this team, and then Cleveland kind of came back down to earth. Where do you see this one as probably go off, again, somewhere around pick'em?
Yeah, I fired the Browns. So last week I had the Saints. I did take the dead cat bounce there. Mm-hmm. I don't know what the opposite of a dead cat bounce is. I don't want to get like macabre here, but whatever the opposite of that is, I feel like is what we're going to see from the Saints this week. That was home divisional underdog against, a rival team. This is not that. So
yeah,
probably some regression in the effort / playing at the top percentile of your talent level department. And then I think you just have a Browns team that the offensive line is the healthiest it's been in weeks. I know they don't have Jedrick Will still, but he has an acceptable backup with DeJuan Jones. So I think this Browns team can basically play the way that we expected them to play and the way they probably wanted to play to start the season, which is come out and pound the rock against a Saints team that is just dreadful at tackling, cannot stop the run. I think the Browns are going to have quite a bit of success on offense. The Saints, they kind of got away with one last week. The Falcons outplayed them, but they came up with some big plays at times. Obviously, missed kicks were huge in that game. So I'm happy to sell them off that performance and take a Browns team that is healthier and is facing a Saints offense that, as a Chiefs fan, let me tell you, while you're going to get the occasional decent MVS performance, counting on another 110 yards out of that guy is a fool's errand.
I took the 1.5 with the Browns as well. Again, it's for me. Look, I hate the Saints, so it is. I admit there's bias that plays into this a little bit. I hate the makeup of this team a ton, but also when it comes down to it, I think that there is at least a little bit to the fact that the Browns are coming off of a bye in which they knew who their starting quarterback was going to be, and they could work with him to try to figure out how to make this offense at least a little bit more efficient. I know you're going to get the good with the bad with Jameis. I'm fully aware of that, and I will embrace that here in this game. like I said, it's about the healthiest Cleveland team we've seen all year long. And again, a full 2 weeks for them to prepare for this game with Jameis under center. I think they're the better team almost, man for man across the board as well. And so with all that, if they're going to give me a 1.5, I took it. So would still take it at the 1.5. Rams on the road at the New England Patriots. This is 4.5 in favor of the Rams. 43.5 is our total here in this one. A little bit of an offensive line situation there for the Rams that we're trying to monitor to see if a couple of guys are going to be able to make it. And then this New England team, I'll admit, is at least a little feisty under Drake May, which kind of gives me pause in any of this type of stuff. I actually didn't, not in the account yet, Mo, but 43.5, like, I can see a world that exists where the Rams score some points and then New England in garbage time with Drake May kind of playing YOLO ball can get some back or whatever. I have a pretty decent lean to the over, but again, hadn't made it in there yet.
I'm with you. I didn't fire this, but I looked pretty hard at this total as well to the over. I don't know how the Patriots are getting stops in this game. You have a Rams offense that we probably want to buy after a dreadful performance last week against Miami. But yeah, I thought this number was pretty fair. So like on the side, I'm not really betting it, but you do have a Rams pass rush. My concern here for the Patriots would be a Rams pass rush that can be fierce with Jared Verse facing an offensive line that's really bad. I know Drake May can get away from pressure sometimes, but yeah, I mean, the Rams really should outclass them here. But
what is the Drake May rushing prop? Because he's going to be running for his life out there, and so maybe there's an angle of the scrambling quarterback that doesn't mean that it's only 27.5.
I can tell you that I desperately need a Rams outright win here. So my futures would be in very bad shape if they lost this game. So I am just praying they can get the W.
Yeah, I think I lean towards the over. Again, Drake May's rush yards is only 27.5 out there in the market right now. This dude could be running for his life. I mean, he might end up having 10, 11 carries in this game just from having to scramble and get out of pressure and stuff like that. So doesn't have to be too efficient to get to 28 yards. So something to think about if you want to throw that in your account as well. Baltimore on the road at Pittsburgh. This is an expensive 3 or a cheap 3.5 in favor of the Baltimore Ravens. 48.5 to 49 is our total here, Mo. It is people like the Steelers. There's a lot of Steelers love here in this one. I'll admit, I mean, at the end of the day, Russell Wilson is playing probably to a level that fits the skill set of this team and whatever. You add Mike Williams in there. He's a great lollipop ball catcher as well to go along with Pickens and all that. I mean, it probably will work for the personnel that they have. I just wonder what it looks like when it doesn't work, right? Like, do they just get absolutely stomped in games where it doesn't work, So that's kind of like my only question. What say you here?
I took the fish side here and laid the 3 with the Ravens. I just think these teams are in different tiers, man.
Yeah.
I mean, I had my fare is like 5 here. So it sucks. Like, I hate laying points against a divisional, a good divisional underdog. Like, but the Ravens offense is the best of the best. I mean, they're better than the Lions by far, and the Lions are elite. That's how good the Ravens offense is. And then you have, I think, a really good matchup for the Ravens defense. I know that Russell Wilson is having success throwing downfield, but dude, the Steelers are 31st in pass rate over expectation. Like, I just don't trust this staff to come out and do what they need to do, which is throw the ball on a beatable secondary. If you come out and pound the rock on the Ravens, they are going to feast. And if the Ravens go up 14-3, I shudder to think what is going to happen to Russell Wilson after that. So I don't trust the Steelers to keep up what they're doing in a major step up in class here.
Yeah, I'm with you. I have them. I do. I have them power ranks differently as well. And I keep in the back of my mind, I understand that it has worked in the starts so far. I just wonder if they are not able to get these like 40-yard chunk plays that it seems like they need to have in order to put points on the board, what does this team look like if they don't get those? And like you said, the Ravens get into a point where they're a double-digit lead here, and then you know exactly what Pittsburgh's going to do, and so you can actually play for all of that. And I understand that you can kind of get at this Ravens secondary a little bit, but that's more of a traditional passing game as opposed to just drop back and huck it 40 yards down and say, like, hey, Mike Williams win a 50-50 ball, or hey, George Pickens win a 50-50 ball. I'm with you, man. It's Ravens or pass for me. No way. I can't take it with Pittsburgh. And like you said, I know all we're going to hear leading up this game is Tomlin is a dog. Tomlin's a home dog. Disrespect, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But I think Baltimore might be able to put them in their place here in this one. Las Vegas Raiders on the road at the Miami Dolphins. This is 7.5 in favor of Miami. 43.5 to 44 is our total. I guess Tyreek Hill's wrist is fine. If you hear people saying that he expects to play and maybe it'll be an off-season surgery type thing for him or whatever, or maybe this is his agent, Mo, being a mad genius and saying like, hey, we're going to sue this police department in the off-season as it is anyway. So, tell him this wrist injury is what it is. And you might have to miss a game because of it. I don't know really what's going on with all this, but his props obviously way down, his production way down over what we expected coming into the year as well. That's it. They got to win by 8 points. What do you think?
I'm not sure what to think of the Dolphins. I don't understand why they don't just run the sort of offense they've been running the past few years when they've been destroying bad teams.
Yeah.
Throw to your elite wide receivers seems like it should be a big part of the game plan, but instead all they want to do is dump off to Achane and Jonnu Smith. I don't get it. I can't lay 7 with a team that wants to play football like that.
Yeah.
If there's an outlier outcome in this game, honestly, I think it would probably be the other way where like the Raiders just win the game.
Yeah.
But I had this number as pretty fair. This Raiders offense does look better when they have Jacoby Myers healthy, and Gardner Minshew, I think, is just a better player than Aiden O'Connell. So I don't know. It's still, on paper, this is a massive coaching mismatch, but like I haven't been impressed with one thing that Mike McDaniel's done this year, so I don't know what to think.
Yeah, I'm with you. It's so if the Raiders had gone with Desmond Ridder, I think I would have played Miami in this situation. But like I said, like I think Minshew, he's like a bad version of Jameis, right? Where it's like every now and then you get the good, and then when you get the bad, you get the horrible, like just absolutely putrid or whatever. But like, every third, fourth game, Gardner Minshew looks like a good NFL quarterback or something like that. And like you said, it was like, I don't know if I was going to play this, I'd probably just play Raiders money line. I probably would just be like, okay, if you're betting on a good Gardner Minshew game, then like how good of a game could he possibly have? Could they just win this thing outright? I mean, it's like one of those type deals for me. Yeah, I mean, honestly, this is more Sports Talk Radio stuff, but I thought they would start Gardner. I thought they would start Desmond Ridder, just like see what they had in him, right? I mean, like as a why not type situation. Like for me, Gardner Minshew's not your future. Aiden O'Connell's not your future. Maybe Desmond Ridder could be your backup next year or something, like if you like him. But again, that's neither here nor there. Probably a sit it out game for me, but if anything, I would take the points. Is that fair for you?
Probably. I'm off this game too.
Yeah, probably a sit it out for me. Jacksonville on the road at Detroit. This is 13.5 to 14 in favor of Detroit at home over a Jacksonville team that looks like is not going to have Trevor Lawrence again this week. 46.5 to 47 is our total. Mo, this is not Sports Talk Radio. This is kind of like more how we view this team moving forward, and if you wanted to bet some adjusted totals and different things that are out there. But I don't know if we see Trevor Lawrence again this season, right? I mean, like the season's dead and you're kind of married to him unless you trade him or if you whatever. Like, so it's like, what's the point in trotting him back out there with a damn shoulder issue? Just go ahead and go get it fixed and then be ready for next season, right? Like, I mean, I was looking at adjusted totals for Jacksonville and things like that and trying to see whether it was worth playing an under or whatever. I mean, what do you think about that angle?
I mean, in theory, Doug Peterson should be coaching for his job, but in reality, I think it's probably the writing's already on the wall there. So I'm with you. They don't have any incentive to win, but the players obviously are going to try to win.
Yes.
If there's one team I trust to cover a big number in this league, it's probably the Lions. I had my fair 15 in this one, so if you made me bet this one, I would probably bet the Lions. But this is just another stay away for me. I just can't trust Mac Jones to do anything positive. I watched a bunch of that game as I was somewhere where I wasn't watching Red Zone. They had all the games on, and man, that was ugly. So the Jaguars should have gotten buried last week. We lost our Vikings team total over. They drove to the 20 every drive and then didn't score. I know. If there's one team is going to punch it in from the red zone, it's probably the Lions. So this one could get out of hand for sure.
And Dan Campbell just does not have that take the foot off the gas mentality. He is like the old school, like, no, you're gonna stop us, like whatever. You're gonna stop us, or we're gonna keep scoring. This is like obviously too, if you're still in a survivor pool out there, and if you're not in the one at Circa where there's equity in saving Detroit, your no-brainer play of the week. You're probably in a handful of people left in the pool that you're in. So yeah, don't get too incredibly cute here. Detroit slam dunk play with that. Minnesota on the road at Tennessee. This is 5.5 to 6 in favor of the Vikings on the road. A very low 39.5 to 40 total here in this one. They go back to Will Levis last week. Mo, it made no difference. Will Levis is still Will Levis. This team right down there as far as some of the is one of the worst teams in the NFL. There's like a race to the bottom, like with some of these teams right now, and I don't know who's winning the race, but Tennessee is certainly trying to be part of the conversation. That said, Darnold apparently dealing with an injury, so there's that we have to kind of factor in here. Had to be limited and missed practice, things like that. He's going to play, it seems like. Does that change your thoughts on this at all?
Not really, because I laid it with the Vikings here, and it's mostly because of their defense. I think that some sharper teams and smarter quarterbacks are able to somewhat dissect Brian Flores' scheme and find some holes in it. I don't think the Titans would be one of them. You have the dumbest quarterback in the league, basically, against a guy who is elite at bringing pressure, and he's playing behind the composite O-line rankings had the Titans 30th, I believe. So good luck blocking Brian Flores' blitzes here against a guy who's just a dolt. So last week, basically the difference was instead of hurling YOLO balls into the ether, Will Levis just kept taking sacks. He took 7 sacks. That's not going to work either. Probably better off just hurling the YOLO balls, to be honest with you. I just foresee many more sacks here and not any sort of traction. So this just comes down to whether Darnold just poops his pants again like he did last week. And there's been more good games than bad games. So I'm cautiously optimistic that he'll play a bit better this week.
Yeah, at the 6, I didn't do anything. And then when this went to 5.5 and I saw like the backing for the Titans. So this is a deal too, Mo, you and I have been in this long enough to kind of get in people talk about the sharp side and all, whatever. We can argue whether there's even such a thing. But one of the things that I have seen over the years, and I'm sure you've seen over the years too, is the sharp side also will get stubborn with stuff, right? And like the Titans get bet every week and the Titans get pummeled every week. And it's like, they're like, no, but this is the week. But no, but this is the week. And it's like, they keep backing these teams that keep getting pummeled. And they're like, almost like in this weird deal of like sunken cost fallacy where they're like, I have to win one with this goddamn team, before it's all said and done. And like the Titans are one of them. They take money every damn week only to go out and get pummeled on the field. And so I think that this is another one of those situations where it's just like they're looking and going, well, it's 6, so I'm going to take the 6 on this Titans team that's probably going to lose this game by friggin' 17 points. So I don't know. I can't see myself in any way, shape, or form trying to find some sort of reason to love this Tennessee Titans team other than the fact that their defense at times doesn't look bad.
Yeah, and I respect their defense. It's relatively solid, but you have a Vikings team that was pummeling people earlier in the season and has slowed down a bit, but again, just a coaching mismatch here probably, and just an offense that I just don't believe in whatsoever against a defense that I'm quite scared of if they're getting pressure here on Will Levis. Yeah, it's just the Vikings, and they're getting healthier. Like TJ Hawkinson is a good player and making a difference. Yeah, I can't in good conscience take 10. They're 1-8 against the spread. I mean, the market is clearly just like not understanding how bad this team is.
Yeah, I this is like that team that they could. I will say this, guys: if you're betting first touchdown in this one, put a Minnesota first touchdown one in. Like, put a defense in. I know I never said that before in my whole life, but like, Will Levis is going to do something stupid. Like, you just have to, it's going to happen. You just got to hope it happens on the first possession of the game. Like, he will throw it to the other team. It's going to happen. So, don't be left out in the cold there. Get you a Vikings defense first touchdown in there. Seattle on the road at San Francisco. This is 6.5 in favor of the 49ers. 48-48.5 is our total. Christian McCaffrey returned last week, and Mo, I mean, looked pretty much like Christian McCaffrey, and they gave him the workload kind of like Christian McCaffrey, and they said they were going to do it, so they actually did what they said that they were going to do there in that one. Seattle, one of the teams I just cannot get right this year. I just don't have a good read on this team really at all. Probably a little lower on Geno Smith than I should be. Probably a little higher on what this offense should be, which is also gets me in this like weird conundrum with them. What do you think here where we need the 49ers to win by a touchdown?
Took Seattle. This is one where Seattle really needs this game. I mean, they're pretty much out of the playoff hunt if they lose this. So should be a coaching staff that I want to believe in. Like,
yeah, right.
A guy who was just amazing with the Ravens last year. And we have seen their defense fall off considerably without him. It seems obvious he was making a difference. Specifically had a lot of success against Shanahan offenses last year. So we have that going for Seattle. DK Metcalf coming back. I mean, all the pieces are there for Seattle to make this a game. Really rough injury situation for the 49ers. The quotes I read sounded like Bosa isn't going to go. He doesn't.
That's what I got the feeling.
Think he's going to play. Charvarius Ward is their best corner. I don't know if he's playing. I don't know if he's with the team right now. I think it's something personal they said or something.
Yeah, his daughter died. And so
Fair enough.
I don't know if he's going to be back out there. Not probably not would be my guess.
Yeah, and then I don't know. This 49ers team that just they don't want to blitz. They want to just rush four. Obviously, relying on Bosa makes that a hell of a lot easier. So against the Seattle offensive line that's getting a bit healthier and a quarterback who, man, I have seen make some awesome throws under pressure at times, but also just lose his mind at times. So if he's under a bit less pressure, I think he can have some success here. I know that the 49ers played a much better game than the final score last week. They probably should have trounced the Bucs, but I'm still taking the Seahawks. This is a bit higher than I thought it should be.
Yeah, I would only play the dog in this one. I will say, and I doubt it'll get there, though. It is shaded at least a couple of pennies at a couple of places. If it got to 7, if it got to the full 7, I would certainly come in on Seattle. I don't know if we'll get there. It probably might get some resistance once the 6.5 gets cheap or something like that. But yeah, I'm cautiously optimistic as well about the Seattle team just in general. I've tried to be on them when I think it's advantageous. I've been off of them when it ended up being advantageous. Like, I don't know what the hell I've done with this team so far this year. But again, like I said, if there were an opportunity for them to come out and play a complete game, it would be against a team whose best pass rusher looks like he's not going to play. And if he does, he's going to be severely, severely limited in the game. Not going to be having their best corner out there as well. Like, I don't think that the defense shuts down San Francisco by any stretch of the imagination. But if we're going to talk about a firefight and you're going to give me a higher variance game with 6.5 or 7 points to play with, I think Seattle is the side that makes me feel more comfortable.
Yeah, and the 49ers, I'm a little bit, like I said, I'm a little bit hesitant to sell them off probably what should have been a blowout win last week, but we've seen that from this team all year, man. Something just seems off with this team. Like, they are not playing to their talent level.
Yeah, I know. I'm interested to see how they look in this one. Maybe something that will shape how I look just at the NFC in general, maybe even moving forward too in this one. Atlanta on the road at Denver. This is Denver as 1.5 to 2.5 out there in the market point favorites. 44.5 is our total. Denver defense continues to play decently. The offense starting to look a little bit better. I think, natural progression, right, Mo? We're talking about a rookie quarterback and a rookie quarterback that had about as much college experience as a quarterback could have coming out of college. Took him maybe a little bit of time to adjust to the speed of everything. But look, at the end of the day, I think Bo Nix is not god awful. I'll put it that way. I think a lot of people thought he would come in and just be absolute garbage trash, and I don't think he's that. I think he's at least a notch above that, if not maybe 2 notches above that. Atlanta just so incredibly disappointing. They're lucky that they play in the division that they play in. They're going to win the division anyway, despite the fact that they are, who they are. What do you think of them on the road here at altitude?
I was a little bit tempted to play the Falcons. Mm-hmm. Smart people that I respect like the other side, so just going to stay away. But,
yeah,
man, it's tempting to buy the Falcons after last week. They probably should have beat the Saints. Mm-hmm. Ended up having one of the worst results of the week. But this is a much different offense than Denver faced last week when they looked really good for a lot of that game on defense. But they're able to pinch all their guys down and just knowing the Chiefs are going to run the ball and throw short a lot. The Falcons like to run the ball and then throw deep. So they should be a bit more spread out here. I'm cautiously optimistic that the Falcons can run the ball a bit better than the Chiefs did. But all that being said, the big thing that keeps me off this game is I have a major concern about blocking Denver's pass rush. It's been elite. Mm-hmm. They're one of the best in pressure rate. They blitz a ton. Vance Joseph has kind of been in his bag this year. And we have seen Kirk Cousins look really immobile at times.
Yes.
And playing outdoors against a pass rush that I was surprised how strong they looked against the Chiefs last week. Nick Benito, I don't know who Nick Benito is. I thought he was just a situational pass rusher. And I watched every snap of that game, and he was kicking the Chiefs' asses.
Yeah.
So if he's getting in the backfield, Patrick Mahomes made a couple of amazing escapes against this pass rush. Mm-hmm. Kirk Cousins ain't going to do that. So that would be my concern on that end. You're definitely right about Bo Nix. I did not expect much. He's playing somewhat decent football.
Yeah.
They're turning to the rookie at running back. He knows that he needs to rely on Courtland Sutton. I think that's sharp by him. So, they make enough good decisions. They're a solid team. Mm-hmm. I guess my other concern would be I feel like they kind of played their Super Bowl last week against the Chiefs. I know this is a home game. We don't usually see as many letdowns at home, but I kind of feel like they were planning for that game for 6 months. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I reluctantly hit an over when it was at 43.5, and actually you can still find 43.5s out there, so it's not like I got the best of the number or anything like that. With the thought that with Bo Nix playing at least at a somewhat respectable level against a team that doesn't get any pressure at all, so he's not going to be getting dudes in his face all the time, so maybe that helps him also look a little bit better. They put a few points on the board, and like I said, I think Atlanta they're better than what they've shown. Maybe I keep latching on to all these goddamn futures I have on Atlanta and all this stuff that I need to just go ahead and write off that those are all going to go up in flames outside of the division ticket. But I didn't love the click, but it just, to me, I was like, I think that the Broncos have a few points in them here, and I think that Atlanta's not going to get shut out. So I took the over 43.5, but like I said, I don't really have the best of it. It's still available out there.
Yeah, I actually looked at this over too, to be honest with you. So I was kind of right there with you in a way, but again, just that being scared of Kirk Cousins against this pass rush is honestly what kept me off of it.
Kansas City on the road at Buffalo in our game of the week. 2.5 in favor of Buffalo at home. 45.5 all the way to 46.5 is our total here in this one. Mo, I'm not going to say I disagree with the line. What I will say though is that like I'm very worried though that we already know Keon Coleman's out, and then Amari Cooper is just doing the whole hopeful thing to play. He was hopeful for the last 2 weeks and didn't play. Buffalo against other teams can get away with that. I just don't know if they can get away with that against Kansas City. So like, I don't know, man. I just, to me, I don't know why there's so much this love right now for Buffalo out there with, it's like, oh, okay, then who the hell is Josh? I get he's Superman, but who the hell is he going to throw the ball to?
Yeah, it's weird. Like, I own Cooper in one league, and when he initially got hurt, it did not sound like it was going to be a long-term thing, and we're like verging on he could have been on IR almost, like one more week. So I'm surprised that he hasn't come back. Obviously, losing Dalton Kincaid, I think that's pretty big here.
Yeah.
One of the few weaknesses in this Chiefs defense has been an inability to cover tight ends. They have been burned several times. I think he would have been a big asset here. Dawson Knox, a significant step down. He is a player, though, that Josh Allen trusts. That is maybe a place I would look for props this week. Dawson Knox,
that's a good
anytime
look.
Touchdown was around plus 260. I don't think that's the worst. It's probably a bit lower now because Kincaid's confirmed to be out. But maybe it didn't move. I think he was never expected to play, so maybe it didn't move. But that's one place I would look. But it sounds like you and I are kind of leaning the same direction. I'm not going to play this one, but I do think maybe the Chiefs are the side. The initial line was Chiefs favored. I was surprised by that, but I think some of it is just the Sharp community just gets up in arms with these lucky teams that, like the Vikings a couple years ago that are outperforming their point differential. And in some cases, it's warranted. We saw the Vikings go out there and take a dump in the playoffs and get beat by a pretty weak Giants team. But this is the Chiefs, man. They have a true talent for winning close games. We know this. It's been happening for years. I mean, why would anyone expect anything different?
Yeah,
I'm baffled by this.
Yeah, I know. I think I'm just going to play Kansas City on the money line, actually, maybe when it's all said and done, and just assume they're going to win the game. I mean, and as you mentioned, so yeah, Dawson Knox prop sitting at 25.5 yards, and Kansas City's been giving up 73.5 yards per game to the tight end position. And I understand Dawson Knox is not the greatest guy there, but as you mentioned, I mean, he's been there for a long time. Josh Allen and him have a rapport. We're asking for 26 yards out of the dude. Probably a pretty good look right there in this one. But yeah, I just don't. I love Josh Allen as much as the next guy. I think he's amazing. But again, at some point, when you're playing elite teams, you do need help. You do need people around you. And like, there's a decent chance. Again, like, we've heard this whole hopeful that Amari Cooper's going to play thing for 2 weeks now, and he's not played. And even if he does play, Mo, I mean, like, I don't have super confidence in him getting, the full workload and or being able to continue and play the entire game either. So, like, yeah, I don't know. I don't get this line. This seems like weird to me, and then when it seems weird to me, maybe it's a trap, but I don't know. It'd be Kansas City for me, for sure.
Yeah, there's a concern here for the Bills, especially in the sense of the way the Chiefs like to play defense, which is they do like to play a lot of man. They do like to blitz. They do like to challenge your receivers. And we saw the Texans absolutely destroy this Bills offense with that strategy earlier this season. So I could see the Chiefs having a lot of success there. But this is also, you just have to be scared of the fact that, like, the Bills have wanted to win this game for 6 years, and they get beat again last year on their home field. Dude, they've probably again been planning for this game for 6 months, and the Chiefs can afford to drop this game. They can afford to drop multiple games. So I don't know. I'm not saying we're going to see definitely a flat performance from the Chiefs, but the Bills need this game way more than the Chiefs do if they want to have any hope of a top seed in the AFC.
Indianapolis Colts on the road at the New York Jets. This is pretty much 4 everywhere. One expensive 3.5 out there in favor of the Jets. 43.5 is our total. And Mo, no matter what anybody in Indy said, and they were going to start Joe Flacco the rest of the season, this was not a temporary move. Turns out it was, in fact, a temporary move. And we go back to Anthony Richardson for this Indianapolis team. I mean, it was the only move. You were trying to do it because you thought you could make the playoffs. That is very unlikely to happen at this point. So see what you got in the dude, right? Go, like, turn him loose. 4 points with the Jets. I mean, it's probably the right side considering what we've seen from Anthony Richardson. I was dabbling with kind of like the EPA plus CPOE composite rankings and stuff out there. And like, no matter what sample size I put in, Anthony Richardson was last. Like, no matter what I did, like, he was dead last in the NFL. Like, no matter how I tried to shade it so I mean, he was the worst quarterback in the NFL when he was actually playing. So there is that.
Yeah, unfortunately, I'm gonna have to watch this game as somebody with Indianapolis Colts in my account. Yeah. So, this is me putting blind faith in Shane Steichen, basically.
Yeah.
This is just a situation where the game plan should be simple. You have a battering ram at quarterback and an elite running back. You are facing a team that is atrocious at tackling and built its entire defense to stop the passing game. If there are more than 20 pass attempts in this game, you have failed. You have not done the job. Just run the ball. If the Colts run the ball, this is a game where I actually want Anthony Richardson to be in. I know that Joe Flacco has been the better quarterback, but this matchup, you just need to pound the rock on a soft defense with bum Sauce Gardner, who doesn't want to tackle anybody, and just challenge these guys physically. And if they do that, they have a chance.
Yep.
And Shane Steichen has been more sharp than not, I think. So I think he's going to know the game plan here.
We've seen the splits, right? It's like Jonathan Taylor's better when Anthony Richardson is in there. I mean, it's a very small sample size, but still, like, he's been better. And so, yeah, we need Anthony Richardson to have a minimum of 12 carries in this game. We need Jonathan Taylor to have a minimum of 20 carries in this game. And sure, you spell him with a couple of the other guys here and there and all that, but like, this should be a 35-plus carry game for Indy. You keep it low scoring and dirty and nasty. And then if you do that, then having 4 points with Indy is the way to go for sure. On the flip side, like you said, if the assumption of rational coaching has gotten me in trouble so many different times, right? Like, and it's just like, then I'm going to come out. It's like, oh, it's a 3-and-out on the first series because Anthony Richardson's a 0-for-3 passing. And I'm just going to be like, God, oh my God, what have I done? Why have I done the assumption of rational coaching yet again? But I'm with you, dude. If they don't have 35-plus carries in this game, I don't know what the hell is going on. There should be a clear path to how to keep this game at least close, if not win the game. Run. Never laying any points with the way that this Jets team is right now. Like, absolutely not. Never laying points at all. It's Indy or pass for me. Probably a contest play for sure for me on Indy, and then, we'll see from there. Sunday night football, Cincinnati Bengals on the road at the LA Chargers. The Chargers are 1.5 favorites pretty much across the board. There's 1-2 out there at circa in favor of the Chargers. 47.5 to 48 is our total. There has much to be made of the health of T. Higgins heading into this game, Mo, and there's videos all over the internet. Apparently he ran up the hill instead of walked up the hill. So we got all that going on. I'm sure y'all were following this yesterday on Twitter. It was hilarious. Everyone was like, look how fast he went up the hill. He's got to be playing. Like, all right, cool. I'm glad y'all can figure that out about how fast he ran up a hill. But all that being said, it is good signs. At least he's been out there practicing, has been practicing. We know the Cincinnati team looks exponentially better when he is out on the field as opposed to when he is not. We know what the Chargers kind of want to do here, though they have been throwing it a little bit more. It's an interesting game. Where did you land?
Super interesting. I'm very excited for this game.
Yeah, I am too. This is a good one.
I took the Chargers, man. I'm not positive the Chargers aren't the better team here. So this is one where I think we just don't know. I mean, we know what the Chargers want to do. We don't know how strong of a team they are because they've played a pathetic schedule. Mm-hmm. So I don't know if the Chargers are a product of their schedule or if they're actually a good team. Like I think this is a wide range of outcomes game, but I wouldn't mind taking some Chargers alts here. I'm probably going to look for some of those too. I mean, they might have the better coach, the better quarterback, the better defense.
Whoa. Blasphemy. Blasphemy, the better quarterback.
Incredible this year.
Blasphemy, the better quarterback. Oh, my goodness. My heart just skipped a beat whenever you said that. Jesus H. Burrow.
So good this year. I just cannot believe. Every week when I'm watching the Chargers, Herbert makes a throw that makes me just like 2018 Patrick Mahomes stuff where I'm just like, how did he do that? Off his back foot, just dropping it into people's arms. I mean, in pretty tight coverage. The Chargers are surprisingly pretty good. But again, I don't know if this is a product of the schedule. But this Cincinnati defense is terrible, man. And you have a Chargers defense that can actually get stops. Are they getting stops because they're facing terrible quarterbacks? Or are they getting stops because Harbaugh is a very good coach who has significantly raised the level of play of a unit that has been basically a punching bag for the last 3 years under Staley? I don't know, but if I had to guess the outlier outcome that happens in this game, it's probably Chargers by like 7. I mean, I think the Chargers might just be the better team here. It's close, I think.
I really want to be on the Cincinnati side, but I can't do anything until I get like a final injury report. And even then, I don't know if I'm going to be able to go. Like, Hendrickson means so much to this defense. Obviously, T. Higgins changes the dynamic of what the offense is and all of that. And without knowing what their status is, it's just going to be very tough for me to make a play on this one. And so I'm probably sit it out until 90 minutes before kickoff guy, which I know is not fun for anybody, unless, of course, Hendrickson gets ruled out after today, after today's practice, or same deal with T. Higgins or whatever it might be. And if that's the case, then, probably not a play on Cincinnati for me, because it's just a dude that does mean a ton. Both of those guys just mean so much to both sides of the ball for me. I just do think if T. Higgins is a full go and is gonna be able to play, I think they can outscore the Chargers. It's basically what it comes down to. Like, I don't think that their defense is stopping the Chargers all that much, but I think Cincinnati can outscore pretty much any team in the NFL outside of maybe the Lions if it came down to it. And so that's kind of where I'm at. But again, I know it's a shitty position to take when I can't say, well, if this, then this, and whatever. Not, but like I will say, if then, I'm going to wait on final injury reports. It's probably going to take up until 90 minutes before kickoff before I can actually make a true decision there on that game. Guys, reminder, everything we do absolutely free here on this channel. So go in, hit that subscribe button down below. Give us a thumbs up and let us know in the comment section what's your favorite game of the week. Did we miss on any of these, whatever it might be? Hey, and if you want to do something no one ever does, if you want to say you agree with us on something, hell, we'll take that as well. If you want to go in the comment section and say that on all these games. It's been a fun podcast. Appreciate Mo hopping on here with me on TheLines.com. Upper right-hand corner, free Discord button. Go in, join, talk about these games all the way up to kickoff with not only Mo and company, but the community as well. For Mo, I'm Matt. Good luck on all your Week 11 bets.